Hey, look at that. I'm actually back. And in black. So I was actually debating whether to do a review on Men in Black International or this. And, well, after saying this, choice wasn't really that hard. So, Upgrade is a indie sci-fi action movie released on June 1st, 2018. And this is actually written and directed by Leigh Whannell and produced by Jason Blum, who, you know, is hit or miss when it comes to his movies. And also, you bet you ain't getting a big budget. Not with that Blumhouse money. So this movie stars Logan Marshall-Green, Betty Gabriel, and Harrison Gilbertson, just to name a few. Names that I'm not really that familiar with. I'm assuming you might not be either. So Leigh Whannell, the director and writer of this, he also did Insidious, the first one, and he also wrote, interestingly enough, or co-wrote with James Wan, the first three Saw movies, including the short movie that would ultimately become the Saw movie, the first Saw movie, I should say, and Insidious Chapter 2. Now, his directorial debut was actually Insidious Chapter 3. Now, none of these I have seen because I'm not really much of a horror fan. Sorry. Also, he did The Invisible Man from 2020. Now, I also haven't seen that because, again, not a horror guy. If it's martial arts, though, I'm there. So, I remember seeing a trailer for this when this first came out and thinking, it looks interesting. So, this is like a cheaper Venom, even with their own fake Tom Hardy. Except, this actually looks promising.
Like a turd in the wind.
So, this movie is set in the future. They don't give an exact time period when, which I kind of like because it adds this very timeless feel to the movie. However, it's set in the future, a technologically advanced future, where technology and AI is pretty much everywhere. But the story focuses on this mechanic named Gray, who's kind of averse to all this technology. But after an attack leaves him paralyzed and his wife dead, a young tech billionaire approaches him with a new experimental technology that can help restore his mobility. Desperate, he accepts the offer and is implanted with a chip that restores his ability to move and allows him to get his revenge and justice for his wife. So, let's just start off talking about the main lead in general, Logan Marshall-Green, who I'm not the most familiar with. Personally, I know him from Prometheus and Spider-Man Homecoming, and I also, kind of just know him as, well, not Tom Hardy, or the no-name brand Tom Hardy, if you will. However, after seeing him in this, I have to say, he has definitely proven himself to be Logan Marshall-Green, because I thought he was great in this. I loved his performance, and enjoyed his character, actually. I thought he did a great job not only with the humor, but also the action, and even the dramatic scenes, just in general. I thought he really conveyed a lot of the emotion needed to portray such a character like this. One of the things that really stood out about his performance, though, is the physicality of it. Like, one of the things I loved is how his head and neck kind of moved in a way that was independent or felt independent from his body. Because his body had these very stiff motions, kind of similar to a robot almost, whereas his head and neck felt more animated. Like, there would be times where his head would turn and his body wouldn't move. He'd just be looking all around. But his body stayed still because, obvious reasons. And as great as his performance is, I think one of the things that really helps it is the incredible camera work. Like, the camera work in here is insane. I don't think I've really seen anything like it in my experience. I just love the way the camera moves with the action, like almost putting you in there. And they'll do stuff like how the camera will jerk to kind of emphasize an impact, or move in the same direction as the actor and kind of mimic their movements almost. Whether it's dodging to the side or like striking downwards. I'd actually be really fascinated to know how exactly they did it, because it's just incredible. In fact, I'd say the action scenes in general are just incredible. The camera work mainly, but just the choreography and the editing overall, to me, is just done extremely well in this. It's honestly might be up there as one of my favorite action movies now. And aside from just great choreography and editing and incredible camera work, I was also surprised by the brutality of this movie. Whoo! This movie is shockingly violent and very R-rated, with some brutal deaths and badass kills. Like, some of the stuff. Whew, damn. Also, this movie has a lot of cool tech, which kind of lends itself to some cool, genuinely creative action scenes in this. That honestly, I was like, wow, I have never seen anything like that. That's really does feel original. And some of the technology I can actually see being a thing in the future. Some of it, not so much. Also, just speaking of tech, I thought a lot of the effects looked really good. And that's also very impressive for like a lower budget. Because I think this movie was, it's a Blumhouse budget, so you bet your ass it ain't 20 mil. No, I think it's like $3 to $5 million, which, if you don't know movies, is very low budget for a movie. However, they use their money well, because this looks incredible. Even the cinematography, like, it's not trying to copy Blade Runner, which I feel like a lot of sci-fi movies will try to do with their aesthetics, especially the futuristic ones, I feel. It's got its own cool style, which I appreciate. But as good as the CGI looked, well, aside from a couple instances, I really love the use of practical effects in this. There's one in particular. There's one practical effect in particular that, if you know it, ooh, it looked good. Now, as for the other actors, I thought they did good. Like, I liked Betty Gabriel as Detective Cortez, but it was kind of the cliche detective role. There wasn't a whole lot to her character, aside from just kind of being a bit of a foil to Gray. Although there was kind of a part where I was like, oh, are they going to take it in this route? Oh, no, okay, no, it's just straight this way. Okay. But I think she did a pretty good job for what she was given. And then you have the young billionaire, Harrison Gilbertson. He's kind of just, you can probably guess who he is. It's just like, alright, he's just the weird billionaire guy. He's the weird young billionaire type. That's really it. There's not a whole bunch to his character. Well, not really, but I'll explain more when I talk about the ending. I also thought this movie explored a lot of interesting ideas, just kind of with artificial technology and just things that I imagine will become relevant as technology advances into the future. Some of it's interesting, and some of it's kind of scary to think of. Just overall, I thought the writing in this was pretty good for the most part. It's not a complex story, but it doesn't need to be. It's kind of just a simple revenge action, very much like John Wick, and like John Wick, it works very, very well. Now, as for the twist at the climax, yeah, I pretty much saw it coming pretty early on in the movie, to be honest. I was like, yeah, they're gonna go down this route. And I won't say anything, but yeah. Now, what I didn't see coming is the actual twist. The actual twist at the end legitimately shocked me. Turns out that twist, I was like, oh yeah, I saw that coming. Yeah, that was a fake out twist. That wasn't the real twist. The real twist kinda made me go, wait, what? But wait, what? But this means, but what? Oh shit!
Clutch the pearls, what a sneaky thing.
And that twist leads to the ending, and whew, I did not see them going down that route. Wow. I thought the ending to this was not only well done and unexpected, but just bold. I respected the hell out of them for doing what they did because I wasn't expecting them to go down that route. Because a lot of movies wouldn't, but they did, and I was just left in the end like just shocked, absolutely shocked. Like I was processing it for a good 20 minutes. Like what happened? What does that mean? Overall, this was just a fun, unexpected, just enjoyable gem of a movie with great action, a good story, a great twist with a shocking ending, and it was an original screenplay. Wasn't a reboot, wasn't a remake, wasn't a reimagining or whatever they're calling it now. Nope. Wasn't an adaptation from a book or TV show or an old comic or whatever. No, this was just from the creative mind of somebody who just likes action and had a story to tell. And for that, I admire the hell out of it. So, I would 100% recommend this as just if you're looking for a great action movie or just a good movie in general, especially if you're like a fan of John Wick, I'd 100% recommend this. This was such a fun watch. I'm so glad I finally watched it. And that's why I'm giving this, I think, an 8.6 out of 10. This is the kind of movie that inspires me to want to do film one day. Like, an original story. So, tell me, what's your favorite indie action movie? Did you like this movie? Just tell me in the comments below. Again, it's been 6 months, so I'm still new. So, subscribe, I guess. Also, I have my Instagram down below. You want to follow for some reason. Yeah. I am still new.